welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron, and I help people expand their consciousness. Now, in this video, what I'm gonna be doing is showing you a completely new perspective about how you see the world. Now, I believe that this video has the potential to really shape the way that you see the world and to really empower you into knowing that you can manifest or shift to the parallel reality you prefer. Now, I know this video is a little bit more esoteric, but I was recently at the sauna, actually, at the gym of all places, and I was talking to this guy in there that is a physics professor at UNLV here in Las Vegas, and we had this really deep conversation on parallel realities and understanding the idea of quantum mechanics and quantum physics, and it was like a 15-20 minute conversation. And when he left the room, I remember there were 3 or 4 other people in there that were listening to our conversation that were like, wow, that was some really cool information. You guys should have recorded it or something like that. And I remember thinking to myself, well, maybe I'll just make a video on that same idea. So here I am, making a video on how to manifest the parallel reality you prefer. And what I'm gonna do first off in this video is give you guys a general basis for the idea of parallel realities, because they're key in understanding how to manifest the parallel reality and shift to the parallel reality that you prefer. Now, understand a lot of these ideas are still kind of leading edge information in the source of like science. Like, they're coming to learn more about quantum physics, quantum mechanics. This is stuff that's like not proven yet, so I'm not saying this has to be true for you, but I am saying that I think it can be a very empowering idea understanding it, and it can really, at least it's changed the way that I think about the world. First off, it's understanding that the only moment that exists is this moment right now. Now, I know I've talked about this before, but it's important to understand with this video because it's about understanding that all possibilities and all probabilities exist right now in this moment. Now, even if you think about this, imagine you've never experienced the past, because when it was the past, it was the now moment. In the future, you've never actually experienced the future, because by the time the future got here, it was this moment right now. We can only remember the past from our memory, and we can only imagine the future from our brain. So the idea here is understanding that experientially, we only experience this moment right now, and that every possible version of a parallel reality you can imagine exists. So there's a parallel reality where you are an absolute billionaire and you have everything that you want, and then there's also a parallel reality where you are dirt poor, you don't have anything, and everything in between. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in a little bit. Now, the second concept that's important to understand is that when we talk about it, it makes it easier to understand when we talk about it in the form of frames of parallel realities, because it allows us to see that any change that we can imagine is a total change. And really, it's about understanding that we are shifting billions of times per second between parallel realities. Now, I know this sounds like a deep idea, but think of it like this. This is at least the way that I think about it. Get yourself and imagine a film projector. A film projector will have light that shines through it, and there will be frames that come onto the front that form the picture. Now, if you were to get those frames and you were to lay it out and get the film and go like this, you would look and notice that each individual frame, there's a separate frame there, but because it is going quickly through the projector, we can perceive it as one fluid motion. But the idea is that each one of those is a completely separate parallel reality, or a completely separate frame. Now, in the same way, as I look around right now, I am shifting through billions of parallel realities per second. Now, that sounds hard to understand, but think of it like this. Even as I go like this right now, the idea is that my hand, while it looks like it's moving around, because the only moment that exists is this moment right now, it's not so much that my hand is moving as it is the idea of this movement is an illusion of continuity. I am actually shifting through billions of parallel realities, and the picture, the light of consciousness, is that we are seeing is me moving it like this. But really, if we had no memory, we wouldn't really see the fluid continuity of me moving. So the idea behind this is that movement is the illusion of continuity of us shifting through billions of parallel realities per second. Now, if it's hard to understand billions of parallel realities per second, understand that they have this old saying that you can't step in the same river twice. That's kind of this idea that if you were to step in a river, take your foot out, and then step your foot back in, it's not the same river, because the molecules in the water, the way the fish are, the rocks, the formations of it are constantly moving, and as those move, the idea, and then you put your foot back in, it's a completely different river. Our memory can tag ourselves into what the river was 2 minutes ago, but it's still a completely different river. The idea behind this is understanding that we are shifting billions of times per second between these parallel realities, and that as we begin to do that, we begin to have more fluid awareness of this, and then this leads us into one of our next points. Now, the point behind this is that I'm going to get into now is understanding how we can manifest the parallel reality that we want. Now, remember that every possibility you can possibly imagine exists. Now, the way that we shift to the parallel reality we prefer depends upon, one, the energy state that we are in, but two, also the action that we take, the choices that we make. Because even though I might turn this direction right now, the idea is that in a parallel reality, I actually went this way. But that was based on the choice that I made to go this way. Now, it might be a subconscious choice, so a lot of the things we do are on autopilot, but the awareness of this is really understanding that all these potentialities exist right now in this moment, and that the parallel reality we get will depend upon our energy state, what we believe to be true, and the expectation for what we expect to experience. Since a lot of our mind is on autopilot, we kind of create the same things over and over again. And then also the action that we take. Now, it's important to also ask this question, because you might say something like, well, what about a parallel reality where I want to fly or something like that? Why can't I shift to that one? Well, when we came into this life, I believe at least, that we agreed to certain ideas. We agreed to be a part of a collective consciousness, which means we're a part of, we having an individual experience are also part of a unified whole, but also the idea that we agreed to certain ideas such as gravity or such as certain laws of the universe, and because of that, there's more understanding that we are creating what we want, but also based upon certain variables. So maybe some things might not be relevant for us. Maybe we're trying so hard to do certain things that might not be relevant for what our soul actually needs in this moment. And the reason I say that is just to kind of keep it into a very general aspect, because this video is more on the generality of the idea of parallel realities. But now let's imagine how we can manifest the parallel reality we want. Well, this will come to understanding that we can play with our imagination. Now, because every parallel reality exists that we can possibly imagine, I can imagine the best version of myself, the best Aaron I can possibly imagine. Maybe I even imagine it a little bit in the future. But the idea of that would be me seeing myself and how that version of Aaron acts in the reality that I want to manifest. So what I would do is think of myself doing the things that the perfect version of myself that I desire to be like would be doing. So maybe I'll just open up to you guys and tell you that one thing I want to do for a living is speak in front of audiences one day. I also want to be somebody that teaches ideas, that does presentations, or does some type of seminars. It could be all, any of those things, and I want to travel. All of those things, what I can do is imagine that version of myself and how I'm acting in that reality. What is my body language like? What is my work ethic like? How do I act? How do I treat people? What kind of way do I relate to the world in, and how do I do that? Now, as I begin to look and imagine that, I can start to resonate at the same level as that parallel reality of myself. And as I begin to see what that person does, that other version of myself, I then give myself more ability to resonate at the same level as that version of Aaron. Now, in the same way, what you can learn to do is to imagine yourself in the perfect reality you prefer. You can imagine how your body language would be. You can imagine how you act. and how you treat other people. And as you begin to do that, you can then develop maybe the same habits as that person, because at this moment that is a separate person, because you are not yet resonating at the same level as that version of yourself. But it's okay. You can manifest it by understanding how to resonate and how to make decisions at the same level that that version of yourself is making. And as you begin to do that, you begin to not be attached to the outcome, and you begin to do it over and over again. You literally begin to shift yourself to that parallel reality that you prefer. So with that being said, I hope you know that this is an empowering idea, because when you come to understand that, you learn there's much more flexibility if we can learn how to remain in the energy state that we want to be in, to reform some of the beliefs that we have about who we are, how we relate to the world, our expectation for what we experience, and also the action that we can take and how those choices shift us to different parallel realities. So I hope this video kind of maybe expands your mind a little bit into understanding the possibility and the probability that this might be something that we come to learn more about in the next like 10-15 years. And other than that, let me know what you guys think of this video. Put some comments below and let me know if you want more like this, because I can do more videos like this. And other than that, as always, much love. See you guys in the next vid. Namaste.